Now, as a government, Conservatives responded quickly and forcibly to support Ukraine in the face of Russian aggression. We placed wide-ranging sanctions on individuals responsible for the illegal annexation of Crimea. We provided hundreds of millions of dollars in diplomatic, economic, and military aid. And we began the negotiations for the Defence Cooperation Arrangement and the Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement. As a result of our unwavering support, 13 politicians and officials were banned from entering Russia. Andrew Scheer, Ted Opitz, and myself are all included on that list. And I know I speak on behalf of both Andrew and Ted when I say that this ban is actually a badge of honor. It has only strengthened our determination to stand up for Canadian values on the international stage and in Ukraine. And it was a Conservatives who championed the Sergei Magnitsky Law in Parliament just last month. And it is Conservatives who are calling on Canada to restore the provisions of radar-sat images back to Ukraine, put Ukraine on the automatic firearms country control list, and to supply Ukraine with lethal defensive weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Leader of the Official Opposition, the Honourable Andrew Scheer, who's going to make an important announcement about Canada's role on the international stage. Andrew.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and a special greetings to the Ukrainian Consul General, His Excellency Andrei Veselovsky. Good to know that you're here. I want to thank Ted Opitz and Anton, who put this all together. Thank you very much for bringing the Ukrainian community together. I want to thank James for his leadership. I can tell you I've worked with James. We were both elected in the class of 2004, and his commitment and his passion for standing up, not just for the Ukrainians here in Canada, but for Ukraine itself on the world stage. His private member's bill on the Holodomor, his leadership getting the Magnitsky Act through. It's been tremendous to be able to work with him in shadow cabinet, and he's been a strong voice for this community. I really do appreciate all that he's done for the community and for the opposition. So we are fortunate today to be hosted by Plast, the Ukrainian Scouting Organization, a group which has given so much to the upbringing of Ukrainian Canadian youth as proactive citizens and future leaders of the community and of Canada. So I'm here today, this afternoon, to update you on the role Canada's Conservatives see our Canadian Armed Forces playing in a possible peacekeeping deployment to be chosen by the government. Now, the Trudeau Liberals have been promising to choose a mission since they took office. But after 2 years, they appear to be no closer to a decision. They've made great promises to our allies and then left them waiting. From day one, Conservatives have been clear. Any deployment has to be in Canada's national interests. This possible peacekeeping mission is not a means to win a seat at the UN Security Council at any cost. Any deployment of Canadian soldiers as peacekeepers must be consistent with our interests, our values, and in keeping with our greatest traditions of offering a hand to those seeking peace, freedom, and security. This is why a future Conservative government will advocate for and lead Canadian participation in a United Nations peacekeeping mission in eastern Ukraine in accordance with the requests made by the Ukrainian government. Since the Ukrainian people made their historic choice at the Maidan in 2014, Ukraine has faced illegal armed aggression and the seizure of its territory by Vladimir Putin's regime. Canada responded to these acts of Russian aggression with a determination exceeding that of any other country in the world. Our previous Conservative government imposed the widest set of personal and sectoral sanctions of any Western country, offered significant non-lethal military aid, and began Operation Unifier, a Canadian Armed Forces training mission for the Ukrainian military. And Putin got the message. Like a number of my friends here today, James mentioned, I am on the Russian blacklist because of our strong stand. And like James and Ted, I wear being on that list as a badge of honor. But under the Trudeau Liberals, Canada has failed to respond to Russian aggression with meaningful action. Canada no longer provides critical radar-sat intelligence to the Ukrainian military, and the Liberal government has lagged behind the United States in imposing sanctions on Russian human rights abusers under the Magnitsky Act, a law the Liberals opposed and stalled for the first year of their mandate. It was only because of leadership from the Conservative Party that this bill finally became law. Well, it's time for Canada to lead again. That's why Conservatives want to see Canadian leadership in a peacekeeping mission in eastern Ukraine. This mission would cover the entire Donbas region in Ukraine, necessitating the withdrawal of the Russian military and its proxies from Ukrainian territory. It must exclude Russian participation, as Russia is the aggressor in the conflict. It would allow Ukraine to restore control over its eastern border with Russia, ensuring the Russian military stays within its own country and out of Ukraine. Though this conflict has receded from the headlines, it is by no means over. More than 10,000 Ukrainians have lost their lives, and 1.5 million have been displaced from their homes. The economy of Donbas lies in ruins, its towns and cities emptied of people. Crimea, annexed illegally at the start of the conflict, remains a brutal police state where opponents of the Russian regime are arbitrarily imprisoned or even made to disappear entirely. But after almost 4 years of war, Ukrainians have not given in. Ukraine is still fighting for its independence, its freedom, and its right to determine its own destiny. The defense of Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity from Vladimir Putin's illegal acts of aggression should be a priority for Canada's government on the international stage. It is a goal compatible with a peacekeeping role for Canada in this region. The request has been made directly by Ukraine to the Prime Minister, and now it is time to act. So thank you very much. I'm happy to take your questions now.